listening to a new single on Connor Radio. Good afternoon, Connor Radio viewers. My name is Connor Byrne, and today we are going to talk about finishing what you start. I think the best piece of advice I could give anybody when they try to conquer this challenge of finishing what they start is to do less. The goal of being more efficient with your time, the goal of finishing what you start should actually be to do less and to do those things better. In order to do less, you first need to know what's important to you. What is the important thing about the work that you're doing? Are you accomplishing a goal, or are you trying to push an area of your life and to increase the value of that area of your life? Ultimately, in order to know what's important to you, you should also first look at the things that you're doing every day. And that's a good test to see if you're actually doing things that are important to you or matter to you. So, the first suggestion that I give to you, the person who's trying to finish what you start, I would get an index card for you audio viewers. I am holding up to the camera an index card, and you're going to have a date stamp, and then you're going to have like a date timestamp, and then you are going to have the item and then the amount of minutes that it took to do that said item. And just carry this flashcard around in your pocket. You can fold it up. It's a really easy way to carry around like a basic to-do list. You obviously could do like a small moleskin or something, but I think the index card is the best way to go because it's one single sheet of paper. You can't put too much on it. It's no fuss. Just throw it in your wallet and you're good to go. So you have your index card, and then the goal with the index card is to ultimately show yourself what are the things that I'm starting and then how many things am I finishing. So check off the item that's on that card. Once you've finished it, check it off. It doesn't matter if there's repeat things that you do every week. Don't try to double up on, say you clean your room every day. Put on that card that you clean your room, check it off. And on that same index card, you might have clean room again because you've been using it for multiple days. Fill up the whole card. And when you start seeing all the check marks add up, you might start seeing some things that don't get check marks right away. And then you realize, is this thing something that's important to me? So there's the exercise, is by keeping this index card, before you take on more, before you actually think of a project that you want to be doing, like you say to yourself, I should really be doing this podcast, or I should really be working towards this other thing, this project at work. Before you choose to take on that endeavor, just remember that there are things that you need to do every day. And if you aren't doing those things consistently enough, then it's probably best for you to stick with the items that are overwhelming you and take inventory. So the next piece of advice I would give is look at this index card and think to yourself, do the items on this list reflect my core interests? Now, your core interests are going to vacillate. At least here in Michigan, the seasons are very hard and very distinct. So I think it's important to recognize that areas of your life that you want to improve will change in interest level over the course of a year. A New Year's resolution, for example, is something that you're thinking about during winter and you want to change this thing. Maybe you have a lot of perspective on the previous year, but it's still a decision that you made in winter. But perhaps if you made a New Year's resolution in spring and in summer and in fall, perhaps you would have these different types of goals. So my interest for you is perhaps get another index card. And when you get that index card, just write down the things that interest you generally. And then consider the seasonality of your life and what you like to do during the summer. Like for me, a lot of my goals during the summer are fitness related. So what can I do on a fitness orientation to improve my life? So can I run a marathon? And, can I become a better, cyclist? These are things that would be good projects for the summer because it's nice out and I can run outside and I enjoy being outside. Those are good projects for the summer. But to say that you want to become a better runner in the deep of winter is a ridiculous idea for me because Michigan winters are horrible. So you might think to yourself, okay, well, I want to become a better cyclist then because I can do my indoor trainer and it's really fast and easily accessible to go downstairs and hit the bike. So there is seasonality to your goals in life And you should ultimately apply the interest of your life to a season. So think of your life within quarters. You get your 90-day quarter, and think of yourself, okay, in 365 days, I'm going to accomplish X, Y, and Z. 10 different things, but you're actually going to accomplish 1 to 3 of those things a season. So, does your card reflect what you're doing during that season, and does it actually reflect your core interests? The final thing I would say with your index card is there's a lot of things that you don't like doing, and you'll notice the check mark never makes it onto the card. And to that, I would say, can you pair a positive thing, a thing that you like doing all the time, with a thing that you don't like doing? Whatever that looks like for you. Maybe there's activities that are really easy for you to do and make you happy, and then maybe there are some activities that you don't like doing. Maybe it's you just want to, like, your goal is to take on a class. Maybe you like cycling, and then maybe you don't like going to class. Well, you could pair those up. You could get on the bike and put on the TV your course, and you could learn the course while you ride your bike. I mean, you could just literally just stroll and kind of very casually cycle while you learn your class. There's one idea, pairing 2 objective items on your index card and putting them together to maybe accomplish 2 things at the same time. The goal here is not to do more. The goal here is to do less. So you have to understand the final aspect of the index card exercise, which is to declutter. So you're going to see on your index card, and I'll, for the visual viewer here on YouTube, you'll notice that my card is pretty marked up, and it has a lot of different checks and a lot of marks on it, and it has little doodles and all these things. I mean, this thing gets marked up over the course of a week, and you'll notice that some things don't actually get their check mark, and then you have to realize, is this actually important to me? So the third point in finishing what you start is to declutter the things that you are doing. If you look at your card and you see that there's multiple items that don't have a check, that might be something to tell you that's not important to you and you don't want to do that thing. You should declutter, and you should just yank that entire activity out of your schedule. Or conversely, you see something that you do continually that doesn't provide value to you in your life. You don't like doing it, but it's easy to do, but it takes time away from the things that you want to do. Here's like a weird example. I don't like sweeping the house. Perhaps I end up decentralizing that to buying a Roomba. And then that Roomba just go and sweeps the house every week, and you never have to think about sweeping the house. And it just makes your life 10 minutes easier every day. Instead of having to sweep, you just run the Roomba, and then you never have to think about it, and you have time to do, say, I don't know, a 10-minute podcast, whatever it might be. But the goal here is really to see what tasks you do, what tasks you don't do, and then ultimately see what is it worth doing, what things are worth doing in your life. Because at the end of the day, whenever we create space by decluttering something in our life, say we stop doing the sweeping and we add the Roomba, and that means that we don't have a chore. Be extremely cognizant to point number 4, which is the goal to do less. Just because you cut one thing out of your life does not mean that you should be adding something to your life. In fact, more often than not, the thing that you erase from your life is ultimately going to need to be a time where you have free time, a time for you to let your mind expand, free time to allow yourself to relax, to let your hair down for just a second, to recognize that you've made so much progress and done so much hard work on so many other activities. You're able to focus on being yourself, and then you're able to focus on that one important task, maybe after the free time. Don't try to keep on doing something from beginning of the day to the end of the day, because you'll burn yourself out. Take that from somebody who's burned themselves out all the time. So the goal here is always to do less, but to work hard on the things that matter. Ultimately apply this metric of working hard to things that matter during seasons of your life. Because if you don't like doing something at a certain time of the year, what's the point? Do something that makes you happy. In summary of everything that we've talked about, in order to finish what you start, you need to know what's important to you. Think about the seasons of your life and what's important to you during those seasons. And you can figure that out by running an index card exercise and carrying this index card around with you in your wallet until it fills up, and then get a new index card and then just use the date stamps to tell you what you did during that period of time. Ultimately, from this index card, you'll know the things that you need to declutter out of your life. Don't try to do everything all at once all the time. In fact, you should be finding time to let yourself relax, because the ultimate goal is to do less. And when you can do less, you can finish more things that you start. Instead of having 100 things pulling at your attention, you have 4, and you can do those 4 things extremely well, extremely consistently, and at a high standard. This is a message to myself. And if it resonates with you, share the podcast episode with somebody who you think would also resonate with the message. The goal here is to provide value to you, the listener, the person who's goal-oriented, the person that has that side hustle, or that person that's always trying to do something new and never gives themselves enough time to breathe. Maybe it's that person who burns out a little bit. If you see people in your life that are like this, they might resonate with this message, share the podcast. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. So with all the shameless plugs out of the way, with all the information out of the way, I want to thank you, the viewer, for sticking around. Thank you for taking the time to listen. And I look forward to the next entry where we can discuss all things about holistic solutions to your everyday life. My name is Connor Byrne. I have been your DJ, your host, your MC, as always, and I will catch you all next time. Peace.